People think World War II was won by tanks, aces, and elite units, but the truth is brutal. Wars are won by fuel, food, and spare parts. In this video, we'll see how logistics, not just battlefield heroics, decided World War II. Welcome back to Combat History Hub. We remember Stalingrad, El Alamein, D-Day, but behind every famous battle is a quieter struggle. Can you get enough ammunition, fuel, and rations to the front on time? Today we'll look at three fronts: the Eastern Front, North Africa, and the Atlantic, and see how supply lines quietly broke stronger armies. By the end, you'll know why some of the best soldiers in the world still lost. In 1941, Operation Barbarossa looked unstoppable. German panzer divisions smashed Soviet lines and advanced hundreds of kilometers. On paper, it was textbook blitzkrieg, but the map hides the real killer: distance. First problem, railways. The Soviet Union used a different track gauge. As the Germans advanced, they had to rip up and convert the rails just to run their own trains. That cost time and manpower and left frontline units waiting. Second, trucks. Germany simply didn't have enough reliable trucks to move supplies from railheads to the front. Fuel and ammo piled up far behind the lines while forward units ran short. Third, climate and scale. The deeper they went into the USSR, the more fuel they burned just to move. Vehicles broke down, spare parts ran out. When the Russian winter hit, entire units lacked proper clothing and heating because the supply system couldn't keep up. Meanwhile, the Soviets were increasingly fed and equipped with Allied help: locomotives, trucks, food, raw materials arriving through Lend-Lease. Tactically, the Wehrmacht was superb. Strategically, it fought a war that its logistics system simply couldn't sustain in a country that big. That's one of the core reasons Barbarossa failed. North Africa is often remembered as Rommel's arena of daring manoeuvre, but the Desert War is really a case study in logistics overreach. Axis supplies had to cross the Mediterranean, survive Allied air and naval attacks, then be unloaded in ports like Tripoli. From there, everything had to be trucked hundreds of kilometers across empty desert. Fuel was burned just to move fuel. Spare parts were consumed just to keep the trucks running. The further Rommel advanced, the thinner his supply line became. Tobruk, when in Allied hands, forced Axis convoys to detour, adding even more distance and delay. Rommel's famous thrust towards Egypt often had a simple goal: seize Allied supply dumps before his own fuel and ammunition ran out. When the Allies secured stronger ports, better convoy protection, and shorter lines of communication, the Afrika Korps couldn't match them. The frontline battles were decided long before the first shot, in the shipping lanes and truck columns. While German and Italian units struggled in Russia and North Africa, another critical war was happening at sea: the Battle of the Atlantic. Britain, and later the Soviet Union, depended on convoys from North America. Lose those convoys, and there'd be no fuel, no food, no tanks, no aircraft. German U-boats tried to strangle this lifeline. For a time, losses were so high that Allied survival was in question, but the Allied response was, again, a logistics and organisation triumph. Convoys concentrated merchant ships under escort, destroyers, corvettes and aircraft with radar and sonar hunted U-boats. Intelligence and code breaking allowed convoys to be rerouted away from submarine wolf packs. By mid-1943, U-boat losses spiked and the tonnage getting through surged. Without those convoys, there is no build-up in Britain, no stockpiling for D-Day, no sustained bombing campaigns. Normandy itself was a logistics operation as much as a battlefield. Artificial harbours, endless landing craft, constant resupply across the channel. That's what turned a risky beachhead into a permanent foothold. When you zoom out, you see a clear pattern. Germany and Japan often had highly motivated troops, effective weapons and early victories, but they fought long wars of attrition with weak industrial bases, limited shipping and overextended supply lines. The Allies, especially the US and UK, turned factories, railways, merchant fleets and ports into decisive weapons. They moved entire armies across oceans, kept them fed and fueled, and replaced losses faster than the Axis could hope to. In other words, logistics didn't just support the war, logistics was the war. World War II is remembered for its heroes and its battles, But again and again, from the snows of Russia to the sands of North Africa and the storms of the Atlantic, the same rule appears. The side that keeps its soldiers supplied wins. The side that runs out of fuel, food and ammunition loses, no matter how brave or skilled its troops. If you want more serious breakdowns of the hidden mechanics of warfare, not just the headlines, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Which campaign do you think is the clearest example of logistics deciding victory in WWII? Thanks for watching Combat History Hub.